We all have our own little quirks and personal rules, and the Queen of England is no exception. You ready to learn more about Queen Elizabeth's strangest peculiarities? Then keep watching. But before we get to know Her Majesty a little better, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to join us on the bright side. Number 1. She never travels without a pack of her own blood. Queen Elizabeth II is the most well-traveled monarch in British history, which means that she's always prepared for any sort of emergency. Luckily, her entourage includes a medical practitioner who's responsible for knowing the location of all nearby hospitals in the cities that the Queen visits. He also carries a bulky medical bag containing a mobile defibrillator and emergency medicine. Apart from that, the Queen of England never forgets her personal pack of blood, which can come in handy in the case of a transfusion. After all, it's way better to be overprepared than underprepared, right? Number 2. She prohibits opening windows. Back in 2003, journalist Paul Burrell from the Daily Mirror managed to get hired as a servant in Buckingham Palace by forging documents. This fraud gave him an opportunity to write a series of articles about the royal family's private and personal life. According to him, Queen Elizabeth II prohibits the opening of certain windows in the palace simply because the building should look perfect from the outside at all times, and open windows can really ruin the beautiful view. That's why the windows in Buckingham Palace can be opened only at a certain hour. Of course, after finding out the truth about the new footman, the Queen accused the Daily Mirror of violating the royal family's privacy, and she won the case. Number 3. She hates ice cubes. We all have odd and sometimes even unreasonable pet peeves, but for Queen Elizabeth II, it's the sound of ice cubes inside her glass. She finds the sound of ice balls much more musical and prefers to use them to cool her drinks. They say that her caring husband, Prince Philip, even invented a special machine that makes tiny spherical pieces of ice that don't grate against each other. That way, the Queen can enjoy a glass of her favorite gin or Dubonnet without that annoying and unmusical sound of ice cubes moving about. Number 4. She carries a portable hook in her bag. The Queen is rarely seen without one of her gorgeous handbags, and if you think that she usually carries habitual things like money or a wallet in it, then you'd be wrong. One thing is certain, she always puts a portable hook in her bag before leaving for an event. Seems like a weird choice, but it's actually really helpful. You see, the Queen of England sends signals to her servants by using her bag. For example, when she sets it on the table during dinner, it means that she wants to end the event in the next 5 minutes. When she puts her bag on the floor, it's a sign that she's not really into the conversation and wants her lady-in-waiting to rescue her from it. But if she hangs her bag on this portable hook that attaches under the table, then everything's fine and the Queen is having a good time. Number 5. She isn't a fan of beards and bow ties. When it comes to appearance and style, everybody has things that can make or break their first impression of someone. As for Her Majesty, she doesn't really like facial hair. That's why you won't find that many bearded men in her close circle. The only exception is for her grandson, Prince Harry. Although, rumor has it that the Queen tried to convince him to shave his beard off too, but he decided to keep his look as it is. Queen Elizabeth also doesn't like waistcoats and bow ties either. Not all of them, of course, just the fake bow ties that she can spot within seconds. Number 6. She has numbers for all of her outfits. The stylish Queen doesn't play games when it comes to her wardrobe. Each of her garments has its own number so it can be recorded in a special journal that says where and when she wore all her outfits. Since the Queen of England loves bright colors and a classic style, her clothing pieces can easily get mixed up. And given that it's improper for the Queen to show up in the same outfit or even the same color twice in a row, this journal comes in pretty handy. Of course, that doesn't mean that Queen Elizabeth II wears her gorgeous ensembles only once. She often asks her team of seamstresses to update the decorations on her clothes or to alter them. But whether she wears something for the very first time or chooses an outfit she already wore, the Queen always dresses to the nines and continues to set trends. Number 7. She never eats soup or potatoes. Queen Elizabeth's food preferences are pretty peculiar as well. For instance, she's not all that into soup and potatoes. Of course, these dishes are still served in Buckingham Palace for everyone who loves them. But when the Queen dines alone, she prefers to stick to different sorts of dishes. She actually follows a specific diet that has its own set of restrictions. This includes the complete elimination of starches, which means no pasta or potatoes for Her Majesty. However, the Queen of England does enjoy cereal, scrambled eggs, scones, carrots, jam pennies, fish, and, naturally, a nice cup of tea. Number 8. She loves raspberries but never eats them in public. While we're on the topic of the Queen's food preferences, she's also a huge fan of raspberries. Nonetheless, she doesn't allow herself to eat her favorite fruit in public. And that's because raspberry seeds can easily get stuck in your teeth, which is totally unacceptable for a monarch out in public. Moreover, Queen Elizabeth takes official receptions pretty seriously and is extremely strict when it comes to food. Blackberries are prohibited at official events, while cucumber and tomato seeds are removed beforehand. Thanks to these little precautions, royal ceremonies often go quite smoothly. Number 9. She has a special servant to break her shoes in. Let's be real, breaking in new shoes is no fun, so wouldn't you love to have someone else do it for you? Well, the Queen surely thought this through and got a special female servant with the same shoe size. Although the Queen of England has preferred similar shoes of the same brand for many years now, she still doesn't want to experience the discomfort that new shoes usually bring. And that's when her servant steps in, literally, and makes sure that Queen Elizabeth gets perfectly comfortable shoes. Number 10. She's worn the same nail polish since 1989. Even though the Queen of England loves to experiment with lots of bright outfits, when it comes to nail polish, she's been extremely faithful to one brand for almost 30 years now. According to the SE brand website, the nail polish color is called Ballet Slippers, which retails for only $9, is Queen Elizabeth's absolute favorite. The brand claims that back in 1989, the Queen's hairdresser sent the company a letter asking for a whole bottle of the only color Her Majesty would wear. Of course, the company sent it right over, and the Queen has been rocking it ever since. So which one of Queen Elizabeth's quirky habits surprised you the most? Tell us in the comments section below. Don't forget to give this video a like, share it with your friends, and click subscribe to stay on the bright side.